How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh, always bad. I thought we get to see tomorrow, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. I don't know where this road is going to lead. All I know is where we've been, what we've been through. If we gave to see tomorrow, I hope it's worth these days. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so
Peace and grand rise. It is Wednesday. Daily energy reading for Wednesday. I'm the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Yeah, John on the scene. He's up, cranky, acting weird. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah. He's throwing me off, but yeah, today's video is titled "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday." Coming off this solar eclipse and processing a lot of different information for myself and trying to get off one train and get onto another train. And I guess the problem or the issue comes in when we are attempting to come on, Nico. Let me do this live and we can get you together, okay? Okay, Nico. Wow. Oh yeah. We are my cat, my baby, my cat. If I don't the first thing that I do when I wake up, if I don't take care of my cat, then y'all hear I didn't feed her before I got on this live, so now she's on one, but she ain't gonna starve. She eat better than anybody in this whole entire house. She's tripping now. But in processing this energy and trying to move forward and recalculate and recalibrate, I find that the past and the way of viewing life is the hardest thing to say goodbye to. And whether we deal with particular spiritual transformations, spiritual realizations, ancestors coming to visit us in our dreams, aliens coming down from other life forms, and all of this fantastical spiritual stuff that people will tell you about, and then in the same breath talk about how their relationship is trash, or their relationship with self is trash. And one could deal with spirituality, astrology, psychology, and use it as just as an intellectual source. So what is the issue? Cookie. Is that what it is? Yeah. This what you wanted? There you go. So, in processing the astrology, the psychology, and the spirituality, we could get it at an intellectual level. We can sit here and talk about this and that, and oh, I went to this class, I did with this guru, I watched this lecture on YouTube, I got these notes, I got all of this shit mapped out. But what does that even really mean when things really hit the fan and things really force you to be conscious, like force you to adjust, force you to move out of the space that you're comfortably in? As Uranus, let's just bring up the map. As Uranus sits in Aries, Aries being the sign that's ruled by the tower, and Uranus being very slow moving planet. So as it transgresses through Aries, the patriarchal or the initiatory constellation is going to burn down the things that we once held as some form of value. Is this boring you or something? Hmm? And so, Uranus and Aries, and really tearing up and changing everything that we once view about ourselves. And I guess I was doing a reading yesterday on Patreon, and the Tower card had came up, and very simply, if our if we're attached to the external world, if we're attached to what we've attained in this life, and if that situation was to fall down, or if it was to break apart, then we would fall down or break apart based upon our attachments. But when we are attached to self, the whole world can fall down. Anything can happen, and you realize that it is you that are you is not is anything can fall. Like the material world is designed to disintegrate and dissolve. The idea is to be attached to something that does not disintegrate, that does not dissolve. And so Mercury is dealing with purity, purity and understanding. And Mars is dealing with the level of, what is the word? Get you the word. Instinctual dedication of self to new forms of life. So within that, there are things that we do on an instinctual level that really don't make sense to the conscious mind. And if that is coming online, what are you doing to activate that and act upon that? Or are you just simply trying to do the same things that you was doing yesterday? And the problem with this energy is that we live in a completely different world. We live in a completely new vibratory frequency, and you would be trying to do the same thing you was doing 2 months ago and not associating with the particular energy. It's like Androids dropped and you still using a razor. You still using a two-way pager, and you want to be in contact with people. Hit me on my next tail bleep. And it's like we don't even do that anymore. But if we don't move with the signs of the times and understand that energy has changed, then therefore we are not fully released from the past. We are not fully released from the things that we know. So intellectually, we're talking about all of these planets. You're in all of these groups and all of these things that people are talking about. They're doing this and they're doing that. And you might not even be there because of some emotional and mental block. Now, the insanity surrounding that, like, and it's people like it be people. I'm talking to, for I usually talk about people like me with kids, married, and things like that. But I'm not doing that right now. It's people that are younger than me, maybe older than me. They don't have no kids, right? They have no kids. They might have a relationship, but the relationship is shit. They don't want to let the relationship go. Can't say goodbye to it, type of deal. But you have the freedom and opportunity to do anything with your life, but you sit as a young person and bombard yourself with negative thoughts and negative feelings for absolutely no reason. And the fear is that these negative thoughts and these negative feelings, they actually create the actual situation for those negative feelings to arise. It's not what you're experiencing that's negative, it's what you're going to create. Why would you do that? So I just say that to say, like, in this life, you can do anything within reason, right? But anything that you're serious about, anything that you're dedicated about, anything that you're focused on, you could accomplish it. And even if you do got kids, you realize that a lot of people have kids and then they begin to start to change their lives. They begin to start to better their lives because the kids are like the fuel. Like, you want to show them, like, that you're not a piece of doo doo. What is going on, John? Huh? Do you want it? So yeah, kids, man, kids. uh, let's get to these quotes. John is not feeling me today. So Mercury represents the level of purity and understanding and how you begin to deal with the world. Now, this is a easy, simple life hack that we could deal with this energy for today and be pure in our understanding, be new in our understanding, because that's actually what's happening. The false belief in the world is that there's a subsequent linear line to our daily lives when everything is always new. Every interaction is always new. It is our old way of processing. I feel like you're doing that on purpose. Our old way of processing. And so the idea with astrology, with psychology, with spirituality is to let go of mental and emotional thoughts that we hold on to. Oh, I know this person is going to be like this. Oh, I know this person is going to be like that. Or even expecting people to be on your wave and not giving them the opportunity to change their mind. The reality of people is that they change their mind. They may say something one day, the next day they don't feel that way. And you could be the type of person that holds that against them or understands that everything plays out very differently in the moment. And our expectation and our attainment for goals and our desires, they take us out of the moment. Cookie? And spirituality within itself is just being attuned to the moment. There's no simpler, easier way of putting it down. It's like living moment to moment. people who aren't spiritual don't understand that because they are focused on their desires, they're focused on their attainment, they're focused on their goals, and if they accomplish their goals, then you put a crown on them, you give them a robe, and then they walk through the streets, you know, I got my degree, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Or I just got promoted, or I just got this job, and they walk around the hood and, you know, do the king wave. So ultimately, all attainment, all glamour, all desires, you if you do get it, you don't get anything but what you desired. And what you've missed out on is particular moments where you're not fully aligned to what's happening presently. And that's kind of a difficult conversation because everybody is caught up and focused in their attainment for their desires. Like everybody wants to be this big man, like take over the world or be this CEO. And even spirituality is like I want to create a spiritual business and I want to read tarot and all of these different things that people do. They don't ever say I'm gonna appreciate this moment in full purity and true connection to the soul. And I'm not really concerned about my future. I just know that there are things within my view that I need to sort out and figure out. And once I sort things out, there'll be more things that I need to sort out. And possibly my whole life would be me reorganizing and sorting things out. Everybody is like making sure I get distracted during this video, but that doesn't matter because I'm in the moment. So in incorporating my soul into my daily life, right? I'm realizing something about me that I didn't know for this previous 34 years of my life. I realized that I'm like really, really funny. And I was talking to my wife about it like 3 days ago. And I was like, I want to do stand up, but I don't necessarily think that I'm funny. And she was just like, you're funny, this, that, and the third, and you should do it, this, that, and the third. And so the other day, yesterday, I was at child support taking care of some business, and it's like a very dark and dreary place. But instead of it being a dark and dreary place and letting that energy take over me, what ended up happening was that I was making people laugh. Like, and I felt myself. I was myself, and I was like, I just had all the jokes. Like, come on, bro. What is going on? Hmm? Can't you see we doing a live here, bro? Huh? Can't you see that? And so I'm making everybody laugh, in the office. And to me, it just spoke to what I was talking to my wife a couple days ago, where I didn't ever even view myself as funny or making somebody laugh. I had moments here and there. Like, I feel like if I get comfortable with you, I can make you laugh. But just meeting people that I don't know, that are clearly like irritated and clearly feeling a certain type of way, you want to get down, don't you? Hold on one second. Hold on one second, family. I'm gonna put this on mute real quick. That little boy is something else, man. Um, so he didn't want to be held by me, but he ain't want me to let him go either. So babies. So yeah, sense of humor. Realizing that I had a sense of humor, also understanding that everything isn't what's presented to me. That's what I learned from it. It was like I could be in a situation and it can be dark, it could be dreary, it could be negative, but if I'm there, then maybe I could change it and maybe I can't change it, but my energy and vibration is not going to change because people want to be shitty, because people want to be sad, people want to be angry, people want to be caught up in what they want to be caught up in. uh Realizing that you can shift energy is something that I'm realizing, and realizing that beyond shifting energy, you can shift your material world. So if we are to get caught up in the present as being quote unquote negative, dreary, or whatever, it then paralyzes us to begin to enact different things that we could do to make the thing better. So if a person is, oh, this shit ain't that, and this ain't this, and this is needs to be like this, and I wish it was like this, in a sense, they're not doing anything about it. They're just creating, the ambiance of negativity. And so if the situation is dreary, or if the situation is bad, why not create something that's going to make it something somewhat better? Like, whose responsibility is it to improve the things around you? So much can be accomplished, so much can be done in this world once we start to take responsibility for our situations in our spaces, places, and times. Because there is nothing, one of, like, this book is called Basic Psychic something or another. Like a really basic book. And one of the first exercises that they talk about is owning the room. Owning the room is when you ground yourself in a room and then you connect like up and out. So this is a conscious psychological thing that a person can do, or else a person doesn't do it, right? So you walk into a room, do you own that room, or does that room own you? Do the energies take over you? And I feel like it's a choice, the more that you practice it, the more that you get used to it, the more that you deal with your energy, the easier it will be to own a room, the easier it will be to move forward. So a lot of things that we said up until this point, oh, them people in there don't like me, I don't like it in there, the vibe is low, and this, that, and the third. Well, if you are verbalizing those words, within those words is you doing something about it, because there are things that you can't even verbalize that don't even enter into your frequency or awareness. So now the things that do enter your awareness, the things that do enter your frequency, is up to you to change it, because it's in your being, it's in your heart. Like, you have a negative emotion towards it. So therefore, all energy is able to be switched up when you respond to it differently. If I say something to you, or somebody says something to you, and you think like, okay, I'm just gonna act the way I've been acting, I'm gonna just do the thing that I've been doing, that's really being attached to the past in a way that's emotional and psychological. And even though physically, you see, this is not the past, this is the future, this is a new house, this is a new place, your responses, your mentality, everything about you still is speaking to yesterday. Nobody is ready to move forward into this new realm of thought, because nobody knows the parameters or how it works and things of that nature, and we know how it works in the past. Even if it doesn't work to our favor, we know how it works. And even though it could be painful, we know how it works. Even though it could really distract you and take you out of the loop, we know how it works. So therefore, we'll just simply attach to it. And it's not just like some people that experience this. I find that everybody really experiences this. Just unable to move forward at all, because how are you to move forward by yourself and still stay connected to people who's not trying to move forward with you? Therefore, if you want to be connected to people, then you can't move forward unless they're going to move forward with you, and nobody's watching this video with you right now. You watching this video by yourself. So within this is the great square of Mercury square Uranus. To me is like, I have my own thoughts in mind in the moment, and if I deal with people, that's not ever going to be respected. It's only going to be, well, you said that you wanted to do this 2 weeks ago. You said you wanted to do this 2 days ago. I'm going to hold you accountable to that. And therefore, well, I did say that. And I do want to be held accountable. And I don't want these people to look at me negatively. So, okay, I'll keep doing it because I already said, and, I'm a man of my word, whatever in the hell. But at the same time, your soul is coming up saying, well, can we re-talk about it? Can we look at some different angles? Can we talk about it differently? And this is more or less the energy as it's presented to me. Like, maybe you're not able to change everything instantly overnight, but you have to have the conversation about your change of mentality, your change of emotions to the people around you. Because if you don't, you just simply fooling yourself. You doing all of this conscious shit, and your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend ain't doing it with you. You growing, but yet and still, when it comes down to dinner, that's who you eating with. So no matter how far you go, when it comes down to dinner time, you got to come all the way back and sit there and talk about, you heard the Kawhi about to go to the Lakers? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. The Browns, they signed Odell Beckham for real. Yeah, and it's nice outside too. It's really hot. Yeah, yeah, it's hot outside. Small talk just to survive, right? Spirituality is waking up in so many of us that the small talk to survive and the idea of moving forward towards your destiny is a real thing. You can understand how the mundane life and people around you are, nobody's particularly holding you back but yourself by not having the conversations of your growth and development and change. So it's easy to shadow project on the people around you. But then again, you have to kind of look at yourself and understand that, are you communicating well enough that people understand what's happening with you? And are you communicating well enough to yourself? Because what happens is these changes arise, you don't say anything. And since you don't say anything, it's just like, I'm having a change of heart. I'm not saying nothing. So for me not saying nothing, I'm just going to be angry or hurt or wallow in my negative thoughts because I have these feelings, I have these words, and now I'm suppressed. But understand that nobody's suppressing you but yourself. Sympathy, right? Sympathy is when everybody expects you to feel a certain way. And compassion is when you are able to incur negative situations surrounding another person and you endure with that person. So compassion, sympathy, all of these things need to be examined when it comes to the soul, because the things that you have set up in your mind, and you have no real rhyme or reason as to feel these ways. So I bring it back to the person who has no children, had like, you're not even really married, or you just got a boyfriend, you just got a girlfriend. And there's a lot of times where I sat in this space, no children, no responsibilities, the world being my oyster, and I done nothing because I just felt bad. I just felt bad, you know? I could have done anything in the world. I could have went out to the club, just did anything, but I just felt bad because the standard that the people around me have created, I didn't live up to. So this made up standard that I'm acquiescing to, I'm not living up to it. So now I just feel bad. The tower says, fuck all of those standards. There are no standards. The only one standard is your heart and following it. There is another standard. Don't be used by grown ass people. Begin to project the life that your heart dictates for you to live. And understand that once you start to speak from this space, people are not gonna like it. Like, nobody is ready for your truth. Everybody is ready for your, such and such died, man. They want you to come pat them on their back and, feel sorry for them. If you tell somebody, oh, such and such died, and you start laughing about it because death isn't real, and you like energy is just transferred through the ether, then people look at you like you crazy. But you have your own way of thinking, you have your own way of living. There is set values and set structures in your family life that don't have nothing to do with spirituality. Matter of fact, it's indoctrinated into the antithesis of spirituality. And this is the whole reason why these things are even in place today. Because if it came to spirituality, if it came to the soul, the world would be a completely different place. We wouldn't, certain things we experience we would never experience. But since we live in a world that's absent of spirituality, then our families uphold these ideals that have nothing to do with spiritual development. It's only maintaining a societal way of life. So now, throughout the history, throughout time, you see these foreclosed loans and housing industry and big bank bailout and government corruption, coronations of queens, royal weddings, secret service, security clearance. We've allowed society systems to indoctrinate us and to rule over us. So the attainment of desires, the white picket fence life that we were raised to really strive for and get does not exist. And even if people living in that space, they're not happy because they got a goddamn house with a white picket fence. It has to be something more to life. And so the idea of this channel, the idea of everything that I'm doing is that maybe today you don't understand what I'm saying. Years down the line, everything that I'm saying will become to make perfect sense. And if the world was to ever change, and if we were to ever navigate this new world, there has to be something internal to us that's able to guide us. and you being able to follow that internal compass might make or break your whole entire existence. The Ten of Swords is the card that really speaks to the position of the moon in the third decan of Gemini. The first point of the Ten of Swords that I want to speak to is the fear of insanity, where all of this shit is happening and you can't even talk about it with people because you don't want to sound crazy. You don't want people to label you. You don't want people to look at you like you're insane. What do you mean, ancestors? What do you mean, nature? What do you mean, traveling to different dimensions? You sound crazy. You sound insane. You sound insane. Another point to this is the attainment of physical things. There is no wisdom in the attainment of physical things. The only wisdom comes when you attain those physical things and lose them. And it might take you 50 times of attaining, losing, attaining, losing, attaining, losing, to stop focusing on attaining and focus on the wisdom that comes from attaining and losing and the feelings that come from that. Do you want to constantly experience that? Or do you want to move beyond the fear of loss? And once more, once you dive into those negative thoughts that people around you present to you, just because they're not even advancing or moving forward or even questioning the reality for which they live in, they've completely accepted this reality that they live in. It's important that you empower yourself in thought, mind, body, soul, of attainment of spiritual principles, and know that I cannot deal with people because if I'm going to search for something more outside of this reality, then how am I gonna explain myself to a person who's already accepted this reality? You just want a person to call you crazy? That's why I always trip off like the people who's always trying to save people who not conscious or not spiritual or don't believe in ankhs the way that you believe in ankhs. You don't know what you look like to those people. You look so crazy, right? Because they haven't even begun to open their mind yet. So you just look so crazy to them. And finally, the Ten of Swords being the card of the day, looking at where the fears of our life lie and change the way that we are dealing with them. So, what I spoke to earlier is not to say that anybody is suppressing you other than yourself and not actively speaking on the new revelations that are coming up in your mind with the people close to you and allowing them to say, that sounds crazy as shit. And for you to say, I'm glad to know that I sound crazy as fuck to you. So now I know that I don't need to talk to you any longer. I don't even have to bring these ideas to you. But we have to begin to deal with our negative thought patterns and our negative frequencies differently. The idea would be to think outside the box or to align with this Mercurial Mars conjunction where it's instinctual action. Instinctual action comes from a place of, oh my goodness. Let's just start all over, guys. So instinctual action. Instinctual action comes from a place of purity, and that purity is the fresh, new understanding of this new world that we live in, and we don't know nothing about it. The only thing that we know is that we have an internal GPS guide that's going to allow us to move and matriculate through this new matrix, and we have to be so clear with ourselves because we can't trust anybody to tell us any pertinent information because this is a completely new world. Nobody has been there. Nobody is like discovery of America, discovery of Mars or something. It's a new world, and if the only way that we know what's happening is if we walk through it, if we go through it through intuition, through clarity, through purity, and not be concerned of everything that's been learned previously up to this point. And trust me, it's very hard to say goodbye to yesterday and to accept this new world, but it's very rewarding. And I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if it's a if it's a long journey for me, but I'm just doing the study like everybody else. I'm coming to the realization like everybody else, and hopefully I can apply this information accurately. So with that being said, just want to thank everybody for joining me on the live. I have a couple more Patreon readings to get to. Just want to invite everybody to join me over at patreon.com/the hood mystic. We are doing monthly energy moon sign readings. It's kind of my personal joy in life. I love doing those things, and I love connecting to people in that way. So if you want to join us, feel free to join us. You don't want to support, you feel free to support my channel in other ways. Cash App, also PayPal. All the links will be included in the description. Something else I wanted to say. I can't remember. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you with the smooth sounds of Boys to Men and letting people know that it's hard to say goodbye to yesterday, but it is definitely rewarding. So peace, y'all. Have a good day.
Good times that made us laugh, always and bad. I thought we get to see tomorrow, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.